Hello and welcome back. Cal and Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Here along with Mike. This is going to be a deck profile from the previous duel video, where it was basically our original created characters from Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos if we were in that universe. We built decks in that style. Just kind of wanted to do something different and interesting for character duels, and we're just putting bulk together to make something neat.
Yeah, it's actually been a lot of fun. I've personally built like 2-3 different iterations of this deck with the same kind of theme, but different boss monsters each time. And we finally settled on one. Two technically, but a general idea between them.
Two, and then everything in the extra deck, basically.
Yeah.
So basically our rules for this was, the dual rules were basically playing in Master Rule 2, which is the Zexal era, because that's the one in the fan series Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos. The deck building restrictions are, we go by canon, by what we see in the series. So, like, only dudes working for Valtor have Xyz cards.
Yep.
And like I said, Master Rule 2, so first turn draw is a thing. Priority is not a thing. And then, like, there's obviously some cards that are confirmed to be, like, only one in the world cards that are used by other characters that we can't put in our decks.
Otherwise, there's no real ban list, and for some iterations of our decks, we use anime-only cards or their unerrated effects.
Yeah, because Zexal era didn't have any erratas. And basically, just all the power cards like that would be banned, or at one, or we only put one in a deck. So.
The other with that is if it's kind of like a staple, we can have multiples, but it has to be limited.
It also has to be like in theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is my character for Revelations. My two boss monsters are Dark Hole Dragon and Darkest Diabolus, Lord of the Lair.
Big dark dragons that come out of voids.
Yep, they either come out of hand or graveyard, and that's actually the big theme, is recurring these guys over and over. To match Dark Dragons as recurable hand or summons, I'm playing Mana Dragon Zenitron. It is fun. It punishes back row hate because I play a bunch of it due to a lot of the stuff I'm playing.
These are built in like the style of an anime character deck because that's where these are basically coming from.
Yep. Mystic Holder is probably one of my favorite monsters in a long time. I enjoy the fact that I can recycle anything when she is normal or special summoned, and there are ways to cheat her out in loop cards. So that's kind of the big thing. Doomsday Horror. I'm playing a purely dark monster deck with cards that self-banish. Mana Dragon Zenitron's one of them. He gets big, and then it recycles them back so I can use them throughout the duel again. Arima discards for a lair, and then you contribute cards, which summons Diabolus by searching it by tributing another dark monster. He's really good. He searches any of the big cards.
Yeah. It's lair fiends with dark dragons.
Yep. Skullmeister, my homie.
Yeah.
He is
every deck has a monster reborn.
And he is very fun to just normal summon. He's big stats and he looks cool and it's fun.
He's 18, right?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Alright.
Not that big.
Okay.
Doesn't get over Ox Raider or something like that. Malice, Lady of Lament. She's nasty. She keeps my deck in the grind game. You have to tribute 2 monsters to choose any trap, engrave, or banish to set it, but then it goes to the bottom of deck.
But with layer out, she can sack my cards too.
One of your cards.
Yep.
The next card, and kind of the biggest and most important one, she makes sure the deck stays online. Lilith, Lady of Lament. She is the only exception to the deck of 2 ofs. You need her. My deck is pretty slow at times with certain hands. She's a quick effect tribute, so during his turn, I can sack his monsters once layers up. So
traps are kind of a big deal for your deck too.
Yeah, you guys will, when we get to it, you'll definitely understand.
Especially with one of the special cards.
Yeah. Necro Gardener, just a one of end battle phase effect. And, well, attack.
Cancel an attack.
Yep.
Banishes itself, so, hey, synergy with Doomsday Horror.
Yep. Same with this card. Pettin.
Pettin the Dark Clown.
He is a wall. He makes summoning my level 5s a little easier. My level 5s and 6s. And he also puts another body on board for tributes.
He hates to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Bad news is that it is a 1 effect.
Yeah. I can miss timing with it.
Yep.
Damage Eater. In theme of just a character duel, you gotta have like a one-of card that for every situation.
For every niche situation that could possibly happen.
Yep. Because I'm stuck on Dark Fiends and Dragons and Spellcasters.
He's also in theme.
Yep. Is Omni Dragon Brotar.
Ah, Brotar.
He searches with just his own effect to summon himself from hand or graveyard, like the big dragons. He can then search them.
Nice.
So it works out. Mad Reloader, my friend.
Yeah.
A lot of cards you want in graveyard because you don't care. They come back.
You know, one of these days I'm going to run that over with an Urquizis and you're going to cry.
Yeah. Battle Fader. Free body, ends battle phases. We're playing a format
Dark
where...
Fiend.
Yeah, Dark Fiend. And we're playing a format where life points are at 4,000 to start.
And battle traps are relevant anyway.
And battle traps are relevant. The important cards of the deck. Lair of Darkness. All monsters are treated as dark. And if I use a card effect to tribute a monster, Lair of Darkness allows me to tribute one of my opponent's face-up dark monsters. Whoever's turn it is then gets a Dark Fiend level 3 token with 1,000 attack, depending on the player's turn.
Yeah.
Stats, board presence, and makes your board my fodder.
And removal, yep.
Unique form of removal. The second most important card in the deck, and generally the reason why the deck is themed the way it is, Ebon's Sun.
As we call it, Black Hole Sun.
Yeah.
It would be like Soundgarden.
Exactly. It has 3 very powerful effects in a limited format. I'm playing 2 because this was actually the original build around for the deck. And it wasn't till I found some Lair of Darkness cards and that I added those in to help facilitate this. So whenever a monster is summoned from the graveyard, you can give it 1,000 attack. That is permanent. That makes your big dragons 4k, so that's a full health bar if needed. Whenever you discard a card, spell or trap, you can then add it back. Hence why we have a lot of discard synergy with the Holder.
Mad Reloader.
He sends. So I don't
he
get
sends?
that.
Okay.
But the idea is I can recycle because I have a lot of discard synergies further in the list as well. So, and then the last effect and the most important is life gain. If a monster is destroyed by battle or card effects, so if it's simultaneous, you gain the life combined of the monsters destroyed at that time. So if it's battle, obviously it's one monster, so pick and choose. But if it's Dark Hole,
surprising how much life gain cards are welcome in a 4,000 life point format.
Yep. Consistency pieces. Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed. Obvious draw, obvious discard. You want to get your big dragons out of hand and grave and cycle a few more cards. One of my favorite cards. It was the other build around for this list. Magical Contract Door.
If you in the duel video, you saw this one.
I give my opponent a spell, and I can search any level 7 or dark monster from my deck to my hand. That searches my 2 boss monsters.
Yeah.
But if I give my opponent Dark Hole, it means they can't use it if I search Dark Hole Dragon without getting my boss monster.
It's level 7 or greater, right?
Level 7 or 8.
Level 7 or 8. Yep.
Alright. 2 Dark Holes. Because Dark Hole Dragon wants one to go off to summon and then searches another, you play 2. It's fun to use Magic Contract Door to give one to the opponent that they can't safely use.
Yeah.
Now the other 4 boss monsters of the deck are the Fang of Critias dragons.
So because Fang of Critias has not shown up in the series, and because this dude's a good guy trying to fight Valtor's Empire, we decided that the masked guy would visit him and give him one of the other legendary dragon cards.
Yep. So I am playing Tyrant Burst Dragon, Mirror Force Dragon, Doom Virus Dragon, and Destruction Dragon.
All the Critias. He has all the cards for him too.
Yep. And because of the Malice Lilith, I can search the one-ofs. The only card I can't search and I have to hard draw is Fangacridius, but I have ways to recycle it maybe 2 or 3 times a game. Multi-attacker is a mere force on legs.
All cards.
All cards.
Whenever I try to touch it with anything, basically.
Unerrated Crush Card Virus on a body.
In case you don't have a dark to sack, but you have Critias.
Yep.
For Crush Card.
And then this is a destroy a card once per turn, but it's also a burn my opponent if the card destroyed is a monster.
Yeah.
So these are the other 4
Ring of
boss
Destruction.
monsters of the deck. Hence why I don't have a way to search it, but it helps out.
It's one of those special unique cards that would be in the show anyway.
Yep. Monster Gate.
This one's fun.
Yeah, I contribute either my own stuff or my opponent's once layers out to flip a monster. It's hit or miss, but it gives me extra body sometimes if I happen to hit layer before I normal summon. It works. Monster Reborn.
Every character deck has one.
And it works really well with Ebon Sun to make base 1k stats on anything. 1 MST. Needs spell trap removal.
Oh yeah.
As you guys see,
Get in the
with
general use stuff now.
Yeah. Now my trap cards. I'm playing 3 continuous trap cards. Graveyard of Wandering Souls.
Interesting.
It benefits me if things are killed by battle or card effect. Gives me tokens that I can then have for tribute summons or blockers. The only thing is you only get the mass destruction effect once per turn, but the destroyed by battle is at any point a card sent to the graveyard. It lets me wall up in a format where we only have 4,000 life points. I put a pet in, and I got 6 bodies between the 2. It's really good. Call of the Haunted.
General use revival.
Yep. Ebon Sun.
Will boost whatever is attached to it.
Again, it was part of the build around. This card is disgusting in a slow format. You can banish a trap card from your graveyard to add a different one from your graveyard back to your hand. That puts it in hand for discard fodder. It recycles any of your power traps that will be seen shortly.
So basically all the ones for Critias.
Yep, and it requires, if I go through my Malice cards and can't get through them, this lets me at least pull back into the game with more traps. Everyone plays a lot of the same spells in a format full of power spells. Being able to punish them, lock them out, or even give them my own copies through the contract door.
Yeah.
I can then discard another spell, add that spell back to hand off Sun, and then lock them out of that name for the rest of the game.
So originally the funny idea...
Yep.
Sorry about the jump cut, everyone. Battery died, but as I was saying, the original idea, funny story with the Dark Contract Door and the Curse Seal of Forbidden Spell. The original idea
that I built was
you get he could also give his opponent Monster Reborn with Magical Contract Door because he was also playing the Monster Reborn counter trap specific Call of the Grave.
Yeah.
And then we were also thinking about White Hole for Dark Hole as well.
Yeah, it was just some fun ideas.
Just some neat, really out there stuff that you would never see anywhere else.
It was okay at first, but the problem was a lot of those traps ended up sitting in hand, and as much as you're like trying to do a character duel, you don't want it super bricky.
Yeah.
And this deck does
Bricky
brick
enough.
sometimes, yeah.
Bricky enough.
So I made a catch-all that also works really well with Ebon Sun to add the card spell you discard. So it's technically just a free anti-spell counter trap when that's up.
And also counters whatever you give them with Contract Door.
Yep. And then
it's like they try to use the Reborn you give them. Theirs is also out of the game.
Yep. So it actually is pretty cool, and it ends up being loopable at certain points. You can actually add it back off of Redeemable Jar more than once.
Yeah.
So there have been situations when we've been playing other games where I've been able to loop some traps, and it's been nasty.
Yeah.
Because we're playing a format where we have a bunch of one-ofs. Instead of trap tricks, I play trap tracks. I blow up one of my own monsters to search a normal trap to set. I can only activate one more trap, but I can activate the one set this turn.
Okay.
So it lets me search Mirror Force, Original Ring of Destruction.
Before everything you're about to see in both of our next one coming up, everything's before errata.
Yep. Crush Card Virus. And Tyrant Wing for the Fangacridius
All
fusions.
the monsters. Which makes up the entirety of his extra deck, by the way. There's no other extra deck cards.
Yep. Funny thing about Crush Card Virus.
Yeah, funny story in one of our test games.
Opening hand, I drew this and a dark that could sack for it. He lost 4 cards from hand and then drew a card of Sanctity. Anime.
Yep.
So both players draw to 6. He did that twice within 2 turns.
Because I used a Phoenix Feather to put it back on top. And you know what happened after he killed all those big dragons in my deck? I used Dragon's Mirror for 5-headed dragon. There was also a Soul Absorption on the board.
Yeah, it was a really cool game.
Yeah.
The last trap.
So normally Crush Card blows me out, but in that one situation, it works. It actually helps a lot.
Yeah. He does have cards in the deck that obviously don't die to it. So the games it doesn't make non-games. That's when we decided making the deck and I was going to use powerful traps like this.
Yeah.
We did a lot of theory testing and gameplay testing to make sure that even though this can be a blowout, that there are still...
I still have monsters I can draw that get under it and can still do stuff with.
Yeah, there are no true non-games. If obviously it's a game of variance, but...
You're always playing with a shuffled deck.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Last one. I needed a trap version to trigger your Dark Hole Dragon.
Yep.
It's powerful.
Dark Hole is a trap.
It's recyclable. It gives me another name. And my last and one of my favorite traps summons a Dark Fiend equal to damage I take, and I heal for it.
Golden apples, very nice.
I've been playing this since I made a Gold Moon coin deck.
Yeah.
That summoned Exodia Necros.
It's so weird. It was like some really weird stall deck.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's a story for another day. But...
Yep, so that's the deck. And then I got my tokens for...
Just random tokens.
All the tokens we need.
Yeah.
4 is pretty good. Most don't stay very long. And it works
Yeah,
out.
the layer tokens usually end up getting tributed right away or dying by battle right away.
Yeah. They get traded back and forth between boards.
Yeah. Pretty quickly.
That is my Seal Revelations character deck right now.
Yeah, I like it.
It's...
Despite my deck being what it is, and actually also using my own custom made up stuff and some anime exclusive cards, we actually go back and forth pretty well most of the time.
Yeah, this deck, like I said, this is like the 3rd or 4th iteration of this kind of deck that I've made.
Yeah.
And it is hit a good spot. And power traps, man.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
All right. We'll see you all in the next one. My deck will be coming up as well. So look forward to that. Goodbye.
Take care.